Hi everyone, so this is my first swatching video of Deep Deep Light Watercolours, and as chosen by Sarah Lovell, one of the Creative Flock subscribers. She asked if I could do Deep Forest. So, and yeah, more than happy to oblige, Sarah. Thank you for suggesting that. So what I'm going to do with these, with all of the paints that I've got from Deep Deep Light, is I'm going to kind of gradually swatch them and then gradually show you how I use them, rather than being in one big kind of one video. So we're going to do this kind of nice and gently and gradually. If there are any other particular colours that you would like to see swatched, then please let me know. But we'll be starting with this tin, which is the Deep Forest collection. And what I will do is I will open them up individually. You can see how they look before I put water on them, and then I will start swatching them in here. So this is Pith, which is my favourite sketchbook supplier, and they're a UK-based company. They don't think they do ship. I think they ship abroad, but it is very expensive. So hopefully they will find a way of maybe distributing, which is easier for people to get. But what they do is they have offcuts of paper, and I did buy this quite a few months ago now. Actually, it was probably end of last year. And they sell these little bundles of offcuts, and this is 200 GSM, and it's 150 by 105 millimeters. And I've used this to create, I used this paper, I did a drawing of a dormouse, and I used this paper for that because it was perfect size. And actually yesterday, Emma Carpendale in one of her drawing sessions was using this paper, and she said it would be really good for swatching. And then I thought, yes, perfect, because I've got some. So I was going to use some watercolour paper, but what I would like to do actually is to try different papers and not just this one. But I'm going to start with this because it's a lovely size. So I will open up, and it's kind of bound with these recycled cardboard on either side, here and here. And then it comes like this. So if you do, yeah, definitely look out. I think they do, the stock kind of runs out quite quickly, so you have to just keep checking to see if they're in stock. But yeah, it's lovely, and it's just individual sheets of paper. And I like the Pith because it holds materials really well without it kind of coming through. There will be some buckling because I haven't, it's not stretched paper, and I'm not planning on masking it down or anything because this is just for swatching. So what I'll do is I'll do some swatching on this paper, because it is a really useful size, but I will also swatch on different type of paper so you can see how the paint looks on another type. And I have got some hot pressed heavyweight like watercolour or heavyweight paper that I can use, which I do quite like using if I'm doing any kind of more like final artwork or anything like that. So yeah, we'll start with this, and we will swatch each one, just trying out a little bit, maybe more opaque or less opaque, and I am just using, I actually realised when I started this, thinking about this video, that I do actually need new brushes, so that might have to be my next investment. I have these Chinese brushes which I do use for ink a lot, and I do really like them. I like the softness of them, the springiness, the nice point you can get. So I will use them today for this, but I think what I'll do is get myself some nice brushes. Yeah, so what I'll do now is I will start to unwrap each one and show them to you in detail before I start actually swatching them. Right, so what I've actually done is I have cut up, so after talking about the Pith kind of mini loose sheets, I actually cut up some watercolour paper as well. This is a Daler Rowney 220 grams smooth, which I tend to like to use. I don't tend to like kind of rough coated or rough paper. That's just my personal preference. But I might give it a go at some point. But no, I've always really preferred the smooth. And then this one is Cass Art's own brand, 300 grams smooth. So it's a bit thicker. So it'll be interesting to see how the paints work on each one. And then, as you can see, if I just kind of fan these out, you can see the difference. Slightly more of an off-white, more of a creamy colour with the Pith, and then these two are much lighter. But yeah, this one is much heavier. The Pith is only 200 grams. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they all work. So what I will do is I will swatch the paints down one side, down here, and well, I'll have each paint swatched across in different strengths, so with less water and more water. Yeah, to see how that looks. So I think I'm going to start with the Pith first, and we are going to start by unwrapping these lovely paints. Now, as I mentioned, this is Deep Forest. So this colour palette is inspired by deep forests, by all the colours you might find in a forest. And if I turn these over, they all have little names. So this is Cranberry. This one is Bark. That's Bark. And we have Forest Green. Like unwrapping sweets. Oh, that is lovely. Look at that. That's beautiful. We have Bilberry. Beautiful. That's the same colour as the paper. That's gorgeous. We have Blueberry. And bear in mind, these are all hand packaged. So it's just so delicately done. Okay, So that's those, and we've got one more, and this is Cloudberry. And this is one I really did want because I thought it was such a nice yellow. So there we go. So pretty. So now I'm going to take my first page, which is this Pith, and I'll turn it over. So this is going to be the first one, which is Cranberry. And I'll show you this. Just need a tiny amount of water. So this one I want to be quite dark. I'm going to do is just move these out of the way for now. Oh, that's lovely. See, that's very deep. That's beautiful. And then I want to just water it down a little bit more. Just to get an idea of like how it would look if there was a bit less. And it blends so beautifully, so you can reignite them really nicely with water. And it blends off so nicely. That's lovely. Oh, I'm really happy with that one. So that is Cranberry. And the next one is Cloudberry. So I'm just going to change my water there. Okay, that one can go there. Oh no, the next one, sorry, is Bark. I'm going to do this one. I'm really sorry if you can hear that noise. It's somebody is just constant drilling or building work going on. So I apologise if you can hear that in the background. And that's really lovely. See if I can get that a little bit darker. Oh, that's such a lovely colour. Beautiful. What I'm going to do is try and find out what pigments are in these and what they're made from, because I think that'd be really nice. Just going to put a little bit more on this one actually, just to make that a bit darker. Okay, and the next one is going to be Cloudberry. Oh, it's so lovely. It's like mustard, isn't it? It reminds me of mustard. Just going to make sure I've got enough room to write in between what they all are. Oh, it's so creamy. Just want to get this a bit more watered down. Oh, that's so lovely. It's so bright. Okay, so that's those three. And then the next one. Just making sure I change my water because I don't want muddy colours. So the next one is, I think this is forest green. Yep, forest green. It's just, you can see how really creamy this is. Oh no. Managed to get a little bit of forest green in my red. Never mind. Oh, that is so nice. It just glides on so lovely. I did mention that some of these granulate, so I think it depends on the pigments in the paints. So some of them have these little grains in it. When it's, you know, it depends on how fine they can be ground down. So this one here has got quite a lot of granulating, which I really like. Which I love that kind of bit unexpected texture, and that kind of mottled effect. It's lovely. So I'm just gonna see how well that goes. Yeah, so you can just keep layering up. There we go. Okay, so that's the forest green, and then we have got this is blueberry, and I think it was bilberry and blueberry. I'm going to try and remember which one was which. I think that's blueberry. I think this is bilberry. This is where I've decided. This is where I've turned out to be completely wrong. I'll double check that in a moment. Last change of my water. Okay, and this is the last one on this paper. I'll put a bit too much water there. Oh, that's so nice. I think this one is blueberry. It looks like it's blueberry. Yeah. So there we go. So that is on the Pith. I think that's really nice. Where I've accidentally splodged a bit of green on there. That's really lovely. So hopefully you can see how it's drying. That kind of, it's quite nice. These are almost like primaries, aren't they, these two? And then what I'm going to do is annotate, make sure I write down, make a note of all of these, and then I'll take a photo and share that with you. Yeah, so you can see how well it's drying. You can see that there is some kind of granulating on some of these here, which I really like, and I love this. That bark colour is so gorgeous. So hopefully you can see it quite well enough. So I'm going to do the same with the other papers, but I'm going to put that on a bit of a time lapse so it speeds it up. So this is the Cass art I'm going to do next. So this is it on the this is it on the Cass art. This is the 300 grams. So let's see how it compares. Get a sense more of the texture of the paper, I think. It hasn't buckled quite as much. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say when it's kind of small swatches, but I feel like you can get more of a sense of the granulating because the granules kind of sit in those little tiny little indentations and the texture of the paper. Wonder whether these kind of, you'd get more of a sense of these of the granulating effect here. So that's the only thing I'm seeing slightly different at the moment. And in the Pith, it feels much flatter. So you can kind of, I can try and see it's still a bit wet. So yeah, you can kind of just about see that difference. But I will when it's dry, I'll do a decent comparison. But now I'm going to use the Daler Rowney and see how I get on with that one. Okay, so that's those 3 paper types swatched now. And yeah, it's really interesting to see the difference. I would say at the moment, I'm not seeing a huge difference in these 2. But what I'm going to do is wait until they've dried, and then I might be able to get a better kind of comparison. So I'll come back once they've dried and I'll annotate them with each one, and I will have another look. Hi. So yeah, I've just annotated all of these swatches and just made a note of the collection. Yeah, I need to put this is the Pith, so it's a bit buckled as you would expect, but stick it under a heavy book overnight, I'm sure that'll be fine. Yeah, so the main difference really would be in the Pith and the other 2 the watercolour papers. Just having a look at the differences, I'm struggling to see much of a difference. The only thing I think I can see is possibly the way that the water has kind of blended, and I don't know whether that's just how I've been putting it on, but it does look, I'm just going to pull the camera up a smidge. So yeah, it's blended, the water is kind of softened here, less so here. Well, it has done quite nice there. So the heavier weight, I'm actually saying that there's quite a mix. So this is the heavier weight, slighter, kind of more of a softness to all of these, except for this one. But maybe I just didn't put enough water on the end. And then with these, it feels like they've kind of, there's a harder line. But again, it might just be how I've applied the paint. So it'd be interesting to, I mean, this one is a 300, but it doesn't feel, I mean, this one still feels pretty robust and quite heavy. So you can kind of get a sense of it. I don't know, there's not really, at the moment, I'm not sure. I may potentially go for the heavier one, just because it might be less likely to buckle up. And I quite like the softness. But yeah, it does hold the paint nicely here. I think it's just a bit more even. But again, it might just be how I've applied it. But yeah, it does feel like there's a bit of this paper, which is the Cass Art 300 grams. It feels like it's gone on a bit more even, particularly the Cloudberry, the Bilberry, and the Cranberry. I do quite like the mottled effect that you get, which is a slightly more, it's more obvious with the watercolour paper. So the Pith, you can see it's quite, you lose a lot of that kind of granulating. It pulls in a much finer way, whereas it feels like they're more broken up on the heavier watercolour paper. So maybe it just depends on your preference. I will still use Pith for sketching, but maybe if it was like a final piece, then I might go for the heavier watercolour paper. But yeah, it's still, yeah, there's kind of some of the nuances of the paint you might lose with the Pith. So for instance, here with the granulating blue, you get these different shades here, almost like these kind of greys. You almost get kind of like warmer colours in there, which you don't get with the Pith. Yeah, so hopefully that's enough for you to see how they would work on different paper types. And what I will do, I'll obviously list each of these paint names and the collection in the description of the post and in the post on Substack so you can see. And then what I would like to do is obviously use them for a final, like an actual painting. So I need to think about what I would use. I mean, I may not decide to use all the colours on one piece, because what I'd like to use these for initially is to paint birds or wildlife. So I wouldn't foresee maybe using all of these colours in one, but you never know. We'll see. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if there's any particular swatch you would like next. Otherwise, I will just make a choice. Yeah, any questions, let me know. Just to say that the discount is obviously available to my Creative Block subscribers and my paid members. The details of the discount code will be in this post for subscribers, and for paid members I have emailed you separately with your code. So 15% off for paid members and 10% off for my subscribers. So yeah, any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great day. Bye.